All right, sisters, we are live. Peace and Black power. Normally I go through all of the salutations. I might say peace and power, or shalom, or hotep, or assalamu alaikum. I like to meet all of the viewers wherever they are, their quest for knowledge. Before we get started, I would like to salute the ancestors and pay homage to our ancestors, for we are our ancestors. Without them, there will be no us. I always like to start off by paying homage to the ancestors. So I ask right now that our ancestors grant us the knowledge and wisdom of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, that they give us the warrior spirit of Harriet Tubman, Yasaki Waka, and Zinga. And I also ask that our ancestors give us hunger for truth, justice, and balance by Yat. So it's now that we gave dua, thanks to the ancestors, I would like to say it's tea time. Where your teacups, ladies?
Water.
Kia, where's the teacup, Kia?
We gotta have consequences and repercussions for these things now.
Come on now.
I'm on the road on the teacup. Oh gosh. Okay.
Gotta slip.
But it's tea talk with the sisterhood. My name is Dr. Oya Mayat. We will be doing this every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So please join the sisters. And if you are a brother watching and you have a wife, girlfriend, daughter, niece, auntie, mom, send her here every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. to hear what the sisters have to say on various topics. I would like for each sister on the panel to introduce herself and to address the viewers.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. Peace and love, everybody. This is your sister, Raziki Zafira. Welcome to Tea Talk. Are we saying what we do as well?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Okay. I am CEO of Nature's Crown International, also star chart reader and a sacred sexpert. That's a new title I came up with. Thank you. That's all.
I am Queen. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, well, I am Queen T. Got my teacup.
All right, Sips T.
I am the founder of Kings and Queens Cultural Enrichment Center here in Baltimore. It is still in its embryo stage. Presently still seeking support from the community and funding. You go to GoFundMe, type it in, Kings and Queens Cultural Enrichment Center. But I'm glad to be here. It's my first time. Carry on.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Sister Kia.
Peace. It's your sister, Kia, aka Wakesho. I am the COO of Nature's Crown International. And I'm just happy to be here. Let's get it on.
And we are missing a Sister Kaba. Normally, Sister Kaba joins us, and I know that she will be joining us shortly. But now you ladies make me feel like I didn't give the viewers a proper introduction when I said my name is Dr. Oya Mayat, and it's kind of past the mic. So I will reintroduce myself. My name is Dr. Oya Mayat. I am the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions, and we are a Black-owned and operated company who creates educational material for children in the areas of history, mathematics, and science. And right now, we're known for our animated series, Meltrek. So if you go to Google and you just type in Meltrek, MELTTREK, then it'll all come up. All right. So I wanted to give you guys the proper introduction. I felt like I just said who I was and then passed the mic, and then y'all got on there and kind of expounded on who you are. So I wanted to give them a proper introduction. But look,
as you should.
But look, last week we had a dynamic discussion. We talked about self-love. So if you missed the show, please go to Dr. Oya Mayat, my YouTube page, and click on the show. We had a nice show with the sisters, a nice bill talking about self-love. Now, we weren't talking about a narcissistic love or a pseudo love for self. We were talking about a genuine love. We were imploring Black women to love themselves, because we understand that in order for you to emanate and to give love, you have to love starts within. So if we don't love ourselves, there's no way that we can transmit love to our men, our children, our other family members, and friends. So last week it was great. We talked about self-love. Sister Kava read a beautiful passage that talked about, loving yourself. And if you love yourself, you will be obedient and faithful to yourself. Sister Kia and Sister Raziki, they talked about beauty. And we talked about embracing your beauty, loving the skin that you're in, loving your nose, loving your mouth, loving your natural hair, just loving your natural self. So it was a very, very healthy discussion. I asked that all sisters go there, check out the talk, click on the link, watch the video. If you are a brother, share the link with your mom, your aunties, all the women in your family, friends, or whomever. It was a powerful discussion, and I implore all women to watch it. But today's topic will be, the question is, should European teachers be allowed to instruct or teach African children? Now, the impetus for this topic today was an incident that occurred here in Baltimore City about a week ago at Harlem Park Elementary School. There was a teacher who was instructing a group of Black students. And hold up, by the way, this topic is kind of, what took place at that school kind of struck me. It really struck a nerve, not only because these were Black students that this woman disrespected, but also because it occurred at Harlem Park Elementary and Middle School, which is a school that my mom used to be the principal of. And so if you go to my YouTube page, you'll see a video of my mom. But anyway, so it was a white teacher. She got frustrated with the group of students that she was instructing, and she lashed out and she said, well, if you guys keep on behaving in such a way, then you're going to be nothing but, she called them niggers, and she said drug dealers and punks. So what I'm going to do is, before we get into the discussion of today, I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to share my screen with you. And ladies, can you please tell me if you can see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so I'm getting ready to play the clip.
Get out of my class! Get out of my class! Get out of my class! Get out of my class then! Yeah, I'd like to forget you! Get out of my class! You're gonna sit here and you're lying! Get out! Get out today! Get out! Leave! Get out! Leave! Who else makes you freaking leave? You're getting skills for doing nothing! I gave you the You're idiots! He's gonna get shot!
All right, so hold on, sisters. Let me click off. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, so I don't know if, and peace to the Sister Kava, who just joined the show. Peace to you, Queen.
Peace, sis.
Peace, family. Thank you, Sister Raziki. Thank you.
So I don't know if the clip was clear, but she got frustrated with the students. She said, "You guys are idiots." She called them niggers. Said that they would be, if they continue in this behaving the way they are, that they're going to grow up to be nothing but niggers and drug dealers and and punks. And so when I saw this video, I was extremely disturbed, and I can understand her frustration, because I live in Baltimore City, and I understand that our children aren't they aren't easy to teach. You got a lot of children who are coming from broken homes, who have a lot of economical issues, and a lot of economical and social issues, and they bring those issues with them to school. So I can understand at times being frustrated with our babies, but never, ever, ever should you as an instructor lash out and call the people that you are instructing idiots, niggers, and telling them that they'll be, if they continue, they'll be drug dealers, okay? And that is the difference, I believe, between a white teacher and a black teacher. See, a white teacher, not anybody can disseminate information. Don't get me wrong. I believe that anybody can stand in front of a group of people and disseminate information. However, can you relate to the entire child? So can that European teacher relate to the entire child? Okay, meaning relate to him or her culturally, emotionally, and physically. So, and the answer is no. A European teacher, she can only sympathize or empathize with an African child, and I hate saying black child, so I try to catch myself. But she can only empathize with them, but she cannot relate to them, and therefore she can't totally relate to them. I am of the opinion that she won't be able to properly instruct them, and that's why you had that burst of frustration. That's why you had that burst of frustration that we just saw on the videotape. I think that you and I, all of the sisters on the panel, I believe, I think with the exception of you, Sister Riziki, have children. And, you know, do we get frustrated with our children? Yes, we do. But we don't call them niggers or idiots or things of that nature. And I know that if any one of us were to go into a public school setting and instruct children who look like us, we would probably get frustrated, but I don't think that outburst would have occurred, given that you have a little Tyrone in your house or a little Michelle running around your house. So you understand how to deal with those children. And so before I open up the floor to the sisters to give their opinions on this topic, I want the audience to hear from the great Dr. Amos Wilson on what he had to say about educating our children. So I'm going to play a 1-minute clip of what Dr. Amos Wilson had to say about instructing our children. Sisters, can you please confirm that you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what Dr. Amos Wilson said about instructing our children, because a lot of us talk about transforming our communities, but we have to realize that transforming our communities starts with taking control of our children and educating our babies. So how can we transform our children but send them into the public school system, which is a system that teaches them racism and white supremacy? You're not going to transform the community doing that. So let's hear what the great Dr. Wilson, Amos Wilson, has to say about this.
The reason why, as I've often said, the very first thing that we must do if we are to transform our children is to get control of them. Yes. Yes. And we must become their primary rewarders and punishers. We must determine the conditions under which they are socialized if we want to create the kinds of people we need to solve our problems. You are not going to solve your problems giving it control of your children over to other people. And yet we sit around here hoping every day, after pushing our children and ourselves into the faces of white folk, into the faces of our enemies, that these people by luck or some means would happen to be the kind of people we need for ourselves. The very point and process of education is to create the people you need for your benefit. And if a culture is going to educate your children, it will educate them to benefit whom? Itself, not you, not you. You must bring your children under your own control, and you must be in control of the conditioning process. This is what it's about. If you don't have control of that, then really you're not going to have control of the children, because identification.
Okay. So you ladies heard what the great Dr. Amos Wilson had to say about that. So if we were to ask him, if he were living today, if he was still here, and peace be upon his soul, I think he transitioned in 1996. if Dr. Amos Wilson was here today and we asked him, should European teachers be allowed to teach Black children or African children, he would say absolutely not. And you heard what he had to say, and I would like for the sisters to go ahead and open up and go in on their opinions on the topic.
Well,
Are we?
okay. Well, I'm in agreement with Dr. Amos. Exactly. Like, I feel as though sending our children to be taught by a European system is like giving them the steering wheel to the car and saying, I know I'm going to get where I need to be of it. There's no guarantee. I don't have any control of where I'm going. I don't have any control of where my child is mentally, where my child is going, what my child is going to turn out to be. I don't have any input because I'm giving all of that control over. And
that's right.
Ridiculous. That's ludicrous to me. You cannot have a community that
Hold up, T. I hear some feedback. So if everybody could kind of mute their mic while someone's speaking to avoid the feedback, because it's like an echo. It's an echo, Queen T, when you're talking. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic.
How do we mute the mic?
Yeah, no, you don't mute your mic. You go ahead and talk, but
for the next
just leave our mics. I'm getting ready to mute mine now.
But I believe that we need curriculums designed by us, for us. We need schools designed for us, by us. We need centers that's going to, all of these things that's going to be conducive to enhancing our children's knowledge of their culture, which you can't even have self-love if you don't know who self is. Okay, so they have to be exposed to things conducive to enhancing their knowledge on their culture and their actual history. And I believe in doing this, not only do we have our children not be caught up in that European mindset, but we teach self-love on a grander scale, because they actually get to love and know who they are. And it extends deeper than just that reflection in the mirror that they see. You know, it broadens self-love on a whole nother level. And we then, in turn, have a generation of children who are doing exactly what we're trying to do, be the change.
Yeah, if I could, I'm sorry, Sis T, were you done? Okay, you muted your mic. Okay, so again, I don't have children, but I'm speaking from a perspective of being a military brat, if you will, where majority of my teachers were white. And I was sitting here counting, like, through grade school to college, I probably had 5 teachers that looked like me. And I automatically noticed the difference. Like, it was my Black teachers who I saw, like, you know, back in those days, parents still gave permission to, if my child is acting up, you can go ahead and spank them in the classroom. You know what I mean? And then just growing up with European teachers, I mean, and I'm gonna just be honest, there was, and whatever, just keeping it real, but I didn't take them as seriously. I did not respect them as much. I wasn't, you know, motivated to listen to them or believe anything that they taught me just because, you know, they were European. It was my mother who had to constantly remind me, like, listen, you go and learn this because you're a Black woman in this world, and, you know, the world may treat you different. It was my mother who taught me that perspective. Being in a European-centered school, you know, the African-American history was probably like a week or two. you know what I mean, of lessons, and the majority of history came from a European perspective. And when me and, you know, Kia, when we first went to Kenya, I felt highly upset that I was culture shocked in my own homeland. Seeing nothing but Black people on billboards and TV commercials. And you know, I felt some kind of way because I felt like this culture should have been introduced to me more, you know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, not to mention, you know, I knew a lot of my peers who were also Black who was not getting quote unquote these grades that were considered good or smart. And I come to realize that, you know, based on your culture and your DNA, you know, whatever, we learn differently. So it's not that a lot of these African or Black, or excuse me, African children are dumb or slow. They just don't learn the same way that, you know, their European peers or Indian peers or Asian peers learn. And that's something that I feel like we miss out on. We've been raised in a country to where we have to take all of these cultures, all of these different minds, and force them to think this one way and force them to learn this one way. And it's not conducive to not just the individual child, but the culture from which that child came from. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I know I have, you know, some friends who are in the military and whatever, and they're like, well, you know, I don't care what color the teacher is, you know, my child can go in and learn this, that, and the third. And I'm like, that's great, but understand, regardless if it's a Black or white teacher in the public school system, understand that they are training your child to be a consumer and not a producer. And based on our culture, we were producers. We weren't consumers like that. Like, we were producers. And if you look at a lot of major like the Asians and Indian, everything in America came from China, didn't it? Like, you know what I'm saying? You'll find a lot of cultures that are producing, but others aren't. And so I do feel like it's important because of the perspective of which the educator can come from. And it'll be easier to understand and relate. You know, when you look at somebody that's your same complexion and has your same history, I feel like it just adds more to how engaged that child would be to learn. And that's just my perspective.
Come on, Sister Kia. You got to
unmute your mic, Kia.
I thought I did. I'm sorry. Y'all can hear me now? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So I just,
Sister Kaba, can you mute your mic? Oh, there she goes. She did it. All right.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what Rizzy was saying. I know for me, just coming up in school, I think I probably had 2 Black teachers, and I remember them to this day. And I actually was moving from Atlanta to Charleston, South Carolina. When I was in the 3rd grade, I had been through some rough stuff during my childhood. And I got to Charleston, and the first teacher was white, but the 4th grade teacher was Black, and she took it personal, and she took me in and she said, "You're not slow. You're very smart. I think you cover up your smartness with being funny and talkative and try to be relatable to the class so you can cover who you really are, but I'm going to take you in my arms." And she personally, you know, taught me. And I went from having F's or whatever grade it was then to having straight A's. And I didn't think I could do that because going in at 8 years old, I didn't know how to read or write because I was missing school early on due to family problems and things like that. But this Black teacher, she took it personal to make sure that I was okay. And then when I got to the 5th grade, I had a Black teacher and she did the same. And after that, they're going forward, I always had a white teacher. And in those classrooms, I know for me, I didn't feel as smart as my other white counterparts. It felt like I was made to feel less than, maybe. I don't know, but I just didn't feel like I was smart as my white counterparts. But when I had the Black teacher, she made me feel special. She she made me realize that, you know, listen, everyone is equal here. No one is different from anyone else. And so, you know, with that being said, I certainly agree that our children should be taught by someone that looks just like them. Because again, it's just relatable. Like she said, according to the culture, their environment, and that teacher may have her own Tyrone or Michelle at home. So she knows how to react to that child. She knows how to tell, hey, sit down, give them that look, and they know. But, you know, our white counterparts, they just don't get it. And we deal with them as adults, and they don't get us. So picture them or imagine them dealing with children. So I agree with the entire panel that we certainly need to teach our own kids, but it definitely have to start at home as well.
Definitely. I was hoping Sister Kava, she and I, we were actually building on this topic right before the show started, maybe about 2 hours ago. And she had a lot of good information that she wanted to present, but her phone keeps going in and out. So when she comes back in, then I'll let her kind of expound on the topic. But you guys, I mean, you sisters said, you hit on a lot of interesting points. Sister Queen T spoke about how an African-centered education teaches you your culture, which will in turn give you self-awareness and engender a self-love. And then that love will transform into self-confidence. And I can actually attest to that. Because I went to Morgan State University. And like you sisters, from elementary, I think on to high school, I may have had 2 or 3 Black teachers. But it wasn't until I attended Morgan State University where I actually was educated by people who look like me. Morgan State University is not like that anymore. In fact, I went over there last week and saw a lot of Middle Eastern teachers. A lot of Middle Eastern folks are coming in to HBCUs to teach our children. But when I was going to Morgan in the early 2000s, and even up until I received my doctorate in 2013, while I was there, the faculty members were predominantly African, or some people say African American. And I remember when I graduated from Morgan, it was this sense of pride. I mean, I took classes on the African diaspora and, you know, African history. And when I graduated from Morgan, I felt confident in self. And I remember having an internship with the Department of Defense. I interned with them for 3 months, and I was the only Black face in the in my unit. I was the only Black face. And I remember going in there initially kind of feeling some type of way. And they asked me to do a task, and it asked me to write a program in a programming language called Perl. And at Morgan, I didn't learn Perl. I didn't know Perl. But all of the other white kids at their universities, they were taught, you know, several programming languages. I was an engineer, and we only used, I believe it was C and C++, and they were barely teaching Java. But anyway, they wanted me to write some code, and they wanted me to write it in Perl. And I didn't know how to write it in Perl, but I did tell my boss, I said, well, look, I'm not familiar with this particular programming language, but if you give me 2 weeks, I said, I will be able to write the code. And I grabbed the book from over at Morgan. You know, I studied that book. I played with little, you know, programs and stuff, and I was able to write that code within 2 weeks. I say all that to say, Morgan gave me that self-confidence and that confidence, that self-love. So I knew I could do it. You know, I knew I didn't know exactly what they knew at that time, but I had so much self-confidence or confidence in self that I knew I could do it. And that's what African-centered education does. It gives you a love and it gives you a confidence in self. I know that Sister Raziki talked about how our children learn differently. So we send them into the public school domain. And if they don't grasp the information, I guess the way that teacher expects them to, then they get labeled as ADHD, or they're told that they have a learning disability. And like Sister Raziki said, because we have a different psychology than Europeans, we do learn differently than Europeans. And I highly recommend that all people, all Black people, African people, get Dr. Amos Wilson's book. I think it's called The Development of the Black Child Psychology. I may be messing the name up, but if you get that book, because it explains how the development, how the psyche, the psychology of Black children develops. And that is important when you want to instruct Black children. And we have to understand that our psychology is shaped by our experience and our history. So we have a different psychology than Europeans because we've had a different experience, or we have a different experience in history than Europeans. So I think that Riziki touched on a lot of great points. Sister Kia, you touched on a lot of fantastic points. But to go further, Sister Riziki, Sister Kia, and Sister Queen T, I would like to say this: we got to understand the function of education. Many of us talk about, we send our children out to public school domain, and we say we want to give them an education. We want to give them an education. But what really is an education? What is an education? And I want one of you sisters to speak to that. What is an education to you before we continue?
That's an interesting question. Because, I get all deep and I'll be like, there's education, there's knowledge, and there's wisdom, you know what I mean? But for me, education is information that allows you to assimilate in the world, I feel. Because, that's what I think it is personally. Like, I just have a different, I guess I base information as to how valuable it is and how well it can be applied and for what purpose. So yeah, I'm gonna just leave it there. Yeah, okay, that's it.
I agree 100%. I think it's how well you can assimilate in the world, because a lot of the stuff that I learn in school today, you can't use that in regular life. When we get out of high school and college and things of that nature, you don't know how to balance a book. You don't know what interest rates are. You don't know how to maintain a savings account. You don't know how to invest in mutual funds or stocks or bonds or anything that, that apply to your real life. You don't know how to turn on lights. I remember when I got my first apartment, and I did not know that I had to put the light bill in my name because the lights was already on. So I assume that, that was what it was. So it's just like simple stuff like that we need to teach our kids that actually applies, or that is fundamental in reality. And so I agree.
And I want to ask you something, Dr. Oya, about like, what was, because I don't know, like, was there even an African term that translated into education? Because I know we was more like knowledge, wisdom type stuff. And like Sis said, we can't, I don't remember, I can't remember a lot of what I learned in elementary to high school that really apply or helps me, especially because I choose not to be a consumer and a follower. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want to ask you that.
Definitely. I know that in the Medjugorje, and I've actually had this conversation with a brother by the name of Wujau, who is an African linguist. He studies the Medjugorje. He actually offers a class for people to learn the Medjugorje. But I asked him that as well, Sister Riziki. So that was a great question. Do we have words, or did we have words in an African language which meant education? And his answer was yes. Okay. And a matter of fact, his answer was yes. There are different words in the Medjugorje that means to instruct. There are words that mean to teach. And a matter of fact, there's a word in Medjugorje, they call it, I think it's Siba or Sibet. So Siba, I believe that means to teach. And Sibet is I think Siba is a teacher, and Sibet means a female teacher. So I think Siba is a male teacher. I think Sibet or Sibit is a male teacher. I might be messing this up, but there are words in the Medjugorje that mean teacher, that translate to teacher, and there are words in the Medjugorje which mean to instruct. So there are such words in African language. We also, I say that we're the pioneers of education, Sister Riziki, all throughout Kemet. And even from Kemet all the way to Timbuktu, we had our own schools. you know, that you had the mystery systems, you know, you had various mystery systems, you know what I mean? Different scrolls, different documents. You had the different mathematical and scientific papyri. So I say that we are the pioneers of education. Remember, at one point, the Greeks would come over to us, and this is a good book to read if everyone could get this, Legacy by George G. James, which talks about how the Greeks came over and how they learned and studied at our feet. So we are the pioneers of education, believe it or not. So yes, to answer your question, and Sean P is in the chat room. And Sean P is also a linguist. And let me go to the chat room because I'm sure the brother could clear this up on Sabbat or Sabbath. But brother Sean P, if you're in the chat room, please type in the Medunetta words for teacher and instruct. I believe that for teacher is Seba, and for female teacher to teach is Seba, and for a male teacher is Sabbat. So to answer your question, Sister Riziki, it is. There are words in the Medunetta or an African language that means to instruct. It means to teach. Sister Kaba. Sister Kaba.
She having issues with her mic.
Oh, yes, Sister Kaba, we can see you, sis, but we can't hear you. And I know that you wanted to give your input. On this topic. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Do you want to go in and come back out, or? Because the sister had a lot of good information that she wanted to present. So while she gets that started, this is what I want to show you guys. I'm getting ready to share my screen again. Because you might say, well, why is Dr. Mayat? Why the Vanguard? Why are they talking about white women, you know, in the education system? We are talking about it. Can you see my screen?
We can't see it, sis.
You still can't see the screen?
I can't see it.
Sister Riziki, can you see my screen?
Unmute you can see?
I can see the screen, sis. Kia, you gotta click on her window at the bottom.
Yes, hold on. It's black. Okay, but go ahead, sis.
All right. So what I'm showing is a demographic profile of teachers in the U.S. And this demographic profile was taken out of the center, the National Center for Education Information. All right. This was published, I believe, in 2011. So you're looking at a chart, okay? A demographic profile of teachers in the U.S. All right, from 2011 to 1986. Now, what they do with statistics is they normally deal with a population size or a sample size, and they use mathematical algorithms to draw inferences about that sample population. So look at 2011, we see that N is equal to 1,076, which means they had a sample population of a little over 1,000 teachers. So they looked at the age of the teachers, the gender, the race, and the highest degree earned in years of experience from these teachers. And as you can see, okay, if you look at the teachers, I'm going to age, all right, 50 plus, 31% of them were 50 plus years of age, all right, 31%. But if you look at the gender, 84% of the population was 84% was female. And then this is the result that I didn't like when I looked at this. 84% of the population was white. 7% was black. And if you understand statistics, then you know that they use sample populations to make an inference. And so the inference here, if you look at this, would be that women between, I would say women, it's actually women between the ages of white women between the ages of 30 and 39 are running the public school domain. That is the inference that you can draw from looking at these statistics. I want to show you something else. I went to my son's school last week, and these were photographs that I took just walking down the hallway and peeking in different rooms. Now, my son will be going to an African Center school. I told him this is his last year there, and we're going to pull him out and send him to an African Center school starting in the first grade. He's in, no, second grade. So he's in the first grade right now. And for his 2nd through 6th grade years or grades, he'll be going to an African Center school. But anyway, he's at a public school right now. And when I went there last week, I took these photographs, okay? And I tried not to get like the children's faces because I am showing, these are other people's babies. And I tried to get like the backs of the teachers, but I just want to drive my point home that there are young white women who are instructing our babies. So you see the picture in the far left, you see these 2 women. I think this woman was kind of like, I think these 2 women were like Middle Eastern. They look to be Middle Eastern, I'm just assuming. My son's teacher is actually a European female. And then you see this European female in the hallway. And when she walked past me, I said, are you a TA or are you a teacher? And she's like, no, I'm a teacher. So this is a teacher. And then during school dismissal, they had them all go to the gymnasium and they would stand around and the teachers would bring all of the classes in. And as you can see again, you see European teachers. She's European, she's European, she's European. There's another teacher right here. She's European and she's European, okay? So you have young white women between the ages of 30 and 39 instructing our babies. So someone might say, well, Dr. Mayat, who cares? Or, what's the point? Why does color matter? We are a psychologically damaged people, okay? We are a psychologically damaged people right now. So should the color of the person's skin, whoever's instructing your child, should that matter? Yes, it should matter, because we have to think about what they have done to us or how they have conditioned us over the past 400, 500 years that we've been here. We've actually been here longer than that, but I'm just touching on, the African diaspora and slavery. We have to understand what a teacher does. Not only does a teacher disseminate information to the child, the teacher is seen as the authority figure of that child, that teacher for acceptance, guidance. It is that teacher who rewards and punishes that child. When that child is looking up to that teacher, that child wants to emulate that teacher. So if you are a Black child and you're looking at this European woman instructing you, think about what that is doing to the psychology of those Black children. You're looking to that European woman as an authority figure. You're looking at the European woman for acceptance, guidance, for her to reward or punish you. You're also trying to emulate or will attempt to emulate that European woman. That's no different than white Jesus, because that's what we did with white Jesus. When we went to church and we saw Jesus on the wall, think about it. Jesus is also an authority figure. Jesus is also, you want acceptance from Jesus, who is supposedly or purportedly God. You want acceptance, you want guidance, you want that Jesus will reward and punish you if you do right or wrong. You want to emulate, because people say, I want to be Christ-like. You want to emulate that Jesus. So exposing your child to a European teacher, to me, is no different than exposing your child to the worship of a European God. To me, I think that it's one of the same. Can any other sisters expound on that?
I mean, like you just said it so beautifully, I just don't even know what else to say to even back that up. I mean, the psychological effect of you, and you know what too, it also contributes to us disrespecting each other. You know what I mean? Because now you're not seeing your own quote unquote race as something positive. And a lot of Black leaders are known as rebels or criminal or whatever. You know what I mean? Even with, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Marcus Garvey, yeah, they were great, but our schools don't really teach about the Malcolms and the Marcuses. You know what I mean? And so when you have these school systems, and regardless if it's a teacher or Jesus, but in the school system, you just learn about a lot of white heroes. You know what I mean? Our Black heroes in the school system were, they either, you know, did a slave revolt, but they were a slave in their mind. You know, you don't talk about how you captured even people in royal positions, chiefs of villages, so forth, high priestesses, so forth and so on. So authority figures, period, in school, I know I didn't see a lot. I saw more European heroes than I did African heroes. You know what I mean? So yeah, that is psychologically damaging as well. And it plays to us always looking for white folks to give us back what they took. You know what I mean? Like, because you've seen them in this powerful position for so long. You got a lot of Africans out here, Black people, thinking that the only way we gonna get right is if white people give us back our shit. You know they not gonna give it back. You know what I mean? Do you not see yourself in an authoritative figure where you could either build your own earth or take it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it runs so deep. It runs so deep. So yeah, that definitely plays a huge part. Even today, like, where do you see Black heroes? Even with the movie Nat Turner, you know what I mean? For that short moment, he had that victory, but his ass still got killed. You know what I mean? So what does that do to the psychology? Like, okay, if I fight back and try to do this and that and the third for my people, I know I'm gonna either get killed. Like, the hope isn't there. And every time somebody Black or African goes in and exposes something, the first thing all of us say is, man, they gonna kill him. They gonna kill that dude, man. We're putting that out in the universe. So it's like, it's the rabbit hole is deep.
I had a question for Dr. Mayat, because it sounds like it's like a duality to this. So the problem sounds like there's a problem with us having European teachers and the curriculum, correct? So what what happens if a parent cannot take their kids out of public school, and there is no outlet for them, to possibly get a teacher that is of African descent? What is a solution? What can someone do? What do you think the solution could be where it's cost efficient for that parent?
So what I think the parent needs to do, the parent that cannot pour their children out of public school systems and send them to African-centered schools or homeschool them, I think that parent needs to take advantage of all of the materials out there, like Amel Trek, like the books by Sister Akua Agassi or Sister Angela Freeman, or there's a brother that has a book out called Young in Focus. There's another sister out that has a book called, oh my goodness, Aaron Learns About Africa. You get what I'm saying? There are things that we can do right here at home with our babies. If I can't do it, maybe my husband can do it. If my husband can't do it, maybe the older children can do it. But we have to take that time out to be a part of the conditioning process of our children. Because if we don't condition our children, then someone else will condition our children for their benefit, for their own benefit. So we have to take the time out. Like, for example, with my 6-year-old, I gotta be honest with you. Sometimes I'm just tired. I put in 12-hour days, 13-hour days, trying to build this company, trying to build this legacy for my children. And to be honest with you, when he wants me to read a bedtime story to him, sometimes I don't feel like it. I just don't, but I do it. You get what I'm saying, sis? I try to still do it. Now sometimes I do fall short and I'm like, look, you got to go to bed. But, the majority of the time, I do it and we do it. So, and in sitting down with him, like, oh my goodness, I have his little stuff. Matter of fact, I want to show you guys live. I don't know where his paper is. Hold on, sis. Like right now, see? And I did this in real time, so I'm telling you the truth. I'm sitting at my table right now and I'm teaching my child the 54 countries in Africa. Do I feel like doing that at times? No, I don't, because I'm tired. And parents right now, we're trying to survive, we're trying to maintain, so we're working long shifts, but we have to take that time out we have to take control over the conditioning process of our babies. Again, if we don't do it, somebody will. And that's why you see a lot of children on social media filing out, showing their bodies. You got a lot of kids that want to hustle. So we have to take control of our children, which means taking control of their conditioning process. And that process starts at home. We have to think about, and one day I want to do a show on the ecology of human development and go into the systems that are used to socialize us. So anyway, sis, it starts at home. So to answer your question without being totally long-winded and giving you an exegesis, for parents who cannot afford to send their children to African-centered schools or stay home and homeschool them, still sit down with your children. Maybe if you got to set a schedule for an hour a night, an hour evening, a half an hour, sit down with them, go through different things, get them the Meltrek video. Hold on one sec. I got to show. I want to show. Hold on. Let me show real fast. Hold on. I want to show you guys this. Okay, so I'm doing this live. Can you see my screen, Sister Riziki?
Yeah.
Sister Riziki,
I can see it.
Okay. All right. So we have on our website, I'm highlighting the tab right now. It says members only unit plans. Unit plans. And right now we have 2 unit plans available for parents. So if a parent says, well, look, I can't afford to homeschool my child, I can't afford to take them to African-centered schools, we have unit plans that teach children history from an African perspective online, and the unit plans are free. We only ask a minimum, a menial donation of $25 per year. That's it. So for $25 per year, and this is not per month, this is not every week, this is not, this is $25 per year, you will have access to unit plans that you can download and go over with your children. And in fact, the political map of Africa that I just held in the air or just showed you guys, this is one of the maps that we have in the unit plans. So a parent can say, okay, I may not be able to homeschool them full time, but let me go ahead and go to Ed Anime Productions or go to a Sister Akua Agassi or Angela Freeman and get some of these books and films to show my children, to at least educate them right here in the home. If you go to Shop Now, we have all sorts of products. We have DVDs available for parents to show their children. So we actually have DVDs, and my son is getting ready. Look at this, Sister Riziki. This is an audio storybook that my son is producing right now that's teaching children the history, culture, and achievements of our people. And look at it. It's an audio storybook. So you don't have to read it to your child. We will read it to you. Just buy it. You get what I'm saying? Like, we actually have an audio right now. We're working on the audio. The book should be finished by the end of this month. So we're just asking parents, hey, look, just buy the book, download the MP3, and we will read the story to your child. So there are a lot of materials out there for parents to educate their children right in the house.
Yeah.
Right in the house.
That's dope. That's good, sis. Yeah, that's important, because a lot of parents are single family, so I can only imagine what it's like to have to, do all of that and still teach. But, until you can't afford to get them out of public school, yeah, you got to do it yourself, or work with some sisters. Y'all rotate. Everybody, kids go to her house this weekend, the next house the next weekend, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's definitely ways to do it. And that's another reason why sisterhood is important too, because, if sisters are all on the same page, no matter who house you go into, you learning the same stuff. You know what I mean? So why not make it a community effort? If you know you can't do it by yourself. That's why, my motto is, if I can't build with you, I can't chill with you. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, we can't keep going down the same road. So that would be interested to see. If a group of women, you and your friends, y'all can't afford to take y'all children out, create a little homeschooling group. Y'all agree on one kind of lesson plan. Y'all all get the Meltrek, and if y'all rotate how you want to do it. It's so many ways. There's no excuse, is my point. Like, there's no excuse.
And I'm with you 100%. Go ahead, Sister Kia. Go ahead, because I want to hear your thoughts, sis.
No. I agree 100%. Just to be realistic, there There's very few women that think the way we think. There's a very few amount of people that actually see a problem with the public school system. So for those parents who are single parents and co-parents and like myself, I teach my son a whole bunch of stuff that they don't teach in school, and Rizzy know this. When he was with me or when I was in the States, I would make sure that he would read a book and actually write down the quote each day. He would write it on the little marker board that I had in my kitchen. And I actually had him read They Came Before Columbus, and we did a video on it, and I posted it on Facebook. This was about a year and a half ago. And this guy literally explained how ridiculous the story sounded that they were telling him in school. And I also could remember my son going to school during Black History Month, and he stood up and he said, listen, Dr. King was great, but why aren't we talking about Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey?
Hello,
And,
get him, nephew. Get him, nephew.
and one of the girls said, "Who is Marcus Garvey?" And my son said, he turned around and was like, "You don't know who Marcus Garvey is?" And I was like, Lord, Zay, they gonna kick you out of school. But, and that year he got an award. He had got A.B. honor roll, but then he also got an award for thinking outside the box. He was the only student in the class that year, that received the award for thinking outside the box. And I told him, listen, I'm more proud of this certificate than I'm proud of the A's and B's because I understand the curriculum. And then what I also did with my son is I understand how they do the grading system now. So now you can make like a 90 something and that's a B or something like that, right? Where when we were in school, that's an A. Mm-hmm. So my son noticed that and he brought it to my attention. He's like, listen, mommy, this is not how it was when I was in Florida, and I live in North Carolina. His father lived in Florida. And he was like, this is not how they did it in Florida. This is not fair. And I said, listen, Xavier, if you make this grade, we're going to have an agreement between you and I that this is an A, this is a B, whatever. Mommy understand. And when we go over his homework, we go over each week of his homework, and he showed me what he does. And if he get anything wrong, we go back through it and correct it. But I also let him know that the system that he is in right now is it is it is set up for certain kids to fail. And I know they had at the end of the year test. I forget what the test is called in North Carolina. But he something happened where he had made a low score on one of the parts, right? But he passed the math, the reading, the comprehension part, and all of that good stuff. But it was like one part, and that one part made it seem like he just failed the whole test. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I went into the school and I sat him with me and the teacher and looked at the test, and I told him, listen, this test is designed to make you look like you're not as smart as you are. I'm telling you in front of your teacher, you are smart, you have passed and comprehended, so you know how to read, you know your math, and you know your science. And I asked him right in front of the teacher, I said, what did mommy say is important? Mm-hmm. He said, you said math and science. I said, that's right. And I said, what did you make on that? You passed it? Can you read and write? Okay, in my book, you've made it. In my book, you are learning. You are comprehending. According to this test, it's saying that but it's set up or it's designed to make it look like that. And it's not necessary. And do you know the teacher looked at me, and she was a white female. She looked at me and she shook her head and said, yes, that is true.
That's right.
So I think as parents, we have to stop putting so much trust in the public system. Stop it, because we've seen historically that it's not working for our kids genuinely. I mean, on a general scale.
That's right. It's not.
Okay. There may be one or two kids that do great, that can assimilate, because that's what our kids are doing. Now they have to assimilate. They can't just be themselves, right? They have to put on this whole persona of someone else to succeed within that system. So just as parents, I think we should just pay attention. And if you co-parenting, Make sure that you and the co-parent is on the same page as far as academia is concerned, and your child is just is not confused with what's going on in the household when they go from one home to the next. And I know for me, I try to make that practical in my life and in my son's life.
No doubt, Sister Kia. And I just really want to emphasize this. Earlier in the show, I stated that exposing our children to a European teacher is essentially the same as exposing them to a European God, like a European depiction of Jesus, right? I said that they are one and the same. And we got to remember that our feelings transfer, okay? So I'm looking at this white Jesus, and I'm trying to appeal to this white Jesus, which would be an authority figure, considered an authority figure. I'm looking to this white Jesus for acceptance, guidance, someone that rewards and punishes you, right? Because remember, according to the Bible, if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell, right? And then you say, well, I want to be Christ-like, which means I'm emulating this white Jesus. Now, you do the same thing with school. You go to school, you listen to the information that the teacher is disseminating. You're looking to him or her, and if she's white, you're looking for this white teacher to validate you, to accept you, to guide you, to reward or punish you. They might send you in timeout. They might call home, and they might give you a star when you're doing well. But let's talk about how that's transferred to your life outside of school. Now let's look at it. Let's think of it in terms of beauty. You get what I'm saying, Sister Kia? Now I may appeal to or want to look European. Think about it. I want to emulate Jesus. I want to emulate this white teacher. So what about with in terms of my standard of beauty? So then you wonder why you see a lot of these women walking around with hair down their backs, spending their checks on yaki hair and all. What is it called, Sister Kia? Yaki, or is it called yaki?
Child, I don't know. I just know women.
I know about that Kaneka line. That's all I know. Other than
all I know is Remy.
That's
Remy. Remy, Yaki, whatever. But what I'm saying is, those feelings get transferred, into beauty. Those feelings get transferred with police officers. When you see a white police officer, I know young brothers that when they see white police officers, they freeze up. I'm talking about literally. I've seen, how young brothers respond to black police officer versus white police officers, and it's definitely a difference. You get what I'm saying? So we got to understand that these feelings of wanting to be accepted, wanting to be validated, allowing them to reward or punish us in the school system and even in church, that these feelings are transferred into other areas of our life, standards of beauty. What's going on with police officers? For example, there was a football player that was just murdered a few days ago. I think they said it was like a road rage incident, and the white guy, he shot him. I think the football player got out of the car, came to the window. The white guy shot him, and then I think they said put his gun on top of the car, sat in the car, and waited for the police to arrive. I was also told, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I was also informed that there were black people out there like, look at what he did. He shot him. They didn't go and beat the hell out of the white guy that just shot their brother. They sat there, they videotaped, and they sat there, they video recorded, they yelled and they screamed, and they did nothing to that white guy. Why? Because you have been conditioned to think that white is right and that white is authority, and you want to be accepted from them, rewarded, punished. All of that is in our psychology, and we don't even realize that. Why didn't these black people jump? Why is George Zimmerman still walking around? I mean, let's think about this. Why are all these police officers who killed men, women, and children, why are they walking around? Why has there not been any retribution? Why are we still looking for this system to justify or to censure the behaviors of these people? Why?
Now,
because this is
crazy though.
Hold up, sis. Because this is the same system that we will allow to reward or punish us, right? They reward us and then they punish us. They send us to jail. And you see people that don't think that mass incarceration is wrong, right? Because they consider that punishment. You broke the law, so they say you did the crime, you do the time. So a lot of that, looking at white Jesus, going to school and seeing European instructors, a lot of that transfers to different areas of our life, dealing with the police, dealing with white people on your job, wanting to be beautiful, your standard of beauty. All of that transfers to the different areas of your life. So go ahead, Sister Riziki.
No, you had followed up and said it about how it transfers. I forgot, but you said it.
I just wanted to piggyback off of that, and I gotta say it. And when you said about the white Jesus situation, I digress right quick, but about the Walter Scott situation, when the mother got up there and said that Jesus is in the court. And I think that when we, project that kind of energy, that message to our kids, to the future, we are projecting, failure, straight up failure. To see that, it disgusts me to see that woman say that. And I know that she has taught her children, and her children's children has taught their children. And so this is a generational curse, I believe. And when it comes to our kids, if we are continually to teach them this rhetoric, and this is my personal belief, we are setting them up for failure. We are setting them up for failure. And so the images and the person that is teaching them is very important. And I agree, when they see a white Jesus or a white God, and God is white and Jesus is white, and some of our great leaders would say, then you then believe that all white people are great, and you are less than, and you are inferior. And we see that today, every day. We see that today. So I had to just speak on that part. And I know a big reason of it is religion. And so I hope we can get on religion one day.
I think that's definitely a good topic. Straight up.
It's tearing us apart. I was just on the phone. I'm going to say this and I'm going to get out. I was just on the phone with my grandmother. Real story. I was just on the phone with my grandmother, and she said something about God. I forgot. And I try to digress when she says stuff like that, but she kept on going or whatever. And she was like, I just want you to know that you need to just stay fast with God, and Jesus is going to. I said, listen, now we've already had this discussion. I don't deal with that. And she was like, and we were talking about Christmas. That's what we was talking about. We was talking about Christmas. And I said, I don't celebrate Christmas, and yada, yada, yada. And we just got into the whole thing. And she told, you know what that woman told me? She said, before you leave this earth, you will call on Jesus, and you will call on God. So when we dealing with that kind of energy with our people, man, we just teaching them to believe in fairy tales and false hopes, and not a reality of what you see with your own two damn eyes, and what is logical, and what's reality right now in this fucking paradigm. Excuse my French, but yeah, I had to say that.
No, but that's real. That's real. I mean, what you just said, man. I mean, Dr. Amos Wilson said that we see the world through European lenses, and we see the world through European lenses because we have been stripped of a knowledge of self, and we are given and taught a European culture, and then we perpetuate that European culture to our children. And on Facebook earlier this week, I asked people, I said, do you really understand what culture is? And I was saying in this Facebook post that culture is more than how you dress and the rituals that you perform and the way you say your words or your beliefs or your practices or whatever. I was saying that culture really is a system, by which a people comprehend the world and how to survive in that world. So culture is a system. So it's a system by which you comprehend the world. Well, then who teaches you culture? Well, your first introduction to culture would be in your home. But then if your parents have been Europeanized and acculturated and assimilated to European customs and culture, then when they socialize you or educate you, they are in turn transmitting that European culture to you. Then they send you to the public school system. Now the school system, what does it do? It acculturates you. And what culture are you learning? You're learning European culture. So that is why, sis, You have people like your grandma, people like my mother. My mother and I, we go back and forth about God and her concept of God and Jesus all the time. And my mother is actually an ordained minister. So I know you can imagine how many heated conversations that I actually have with her. And I mean, it always ends well, because at the end of the day, I understand, and I tell her this, I understand why you think the way you think, because we have to understand that culture teaches us how to categorize and classify things. And so if you have been acculturated or assimilated to European culture, then you think in terms of a European. You get what I'm saying? So that's why you had grandma talking about Jesus and God, and you had women wanting a perm hair, straighten hair, bye hair, and things of that nature. People who don't even want to identify with Africa because they're seeing the world through European lenses. So the school system is the biggest tool that teaches us culture. That's where they're learning American culture, European culture. When you go to school, you're taught about Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, the Boston Tea Party, the American Revolution. You learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. Then you learn that you were a slave, and then this white guy, Abraham Lincoln, he enslaved you, and then white people treated you like garbage during the Jim Crow era. Then Martin Luther King fought for civil rights, and that is really the narrative of African American history that is perpetuated, that is taught and perpetuated. And so we have to break that cycle. And that's why it was important to me to play that clip of Dr. Amos Wilson in the beginning of our discourse. So for the brothers and sisters who missed it, please go back to the beginning of the conversation. I played a clip by Dr. Amos Wilson, where he says we need to take control of our children. He said, in order to transform our communities, we must take control of our children in the conditioning process of our children in order to mold individuals that will solve the problems in our community. So with that said, we need to really understand the function of an education. And so the function of an education, according to Dr. Wilson, and I'm getting ready to read this verbatim, he said that the function of education is to maintain the biological survival of a people and to advance their interests, defend their interests, and to enhance their quality of life. He said, if your education does not function in those terms, then it is miseducation. It does not matter how much knowledge you have accumulated or how competent you are in terms of your skills. So he's saying that your education should maintain your biological survival, advance your interests, defend your interests, and enhance your quality of life. And if you don't, if your education does not do that, then you're being miseducated. And I asked you, when we go through public school system, are we given an education that is conducive to the growth and development of the Black community? And the answer is no. So every day that we send our children into the public school domain to be educated, we are misinforming our babies. And this is detrimental to the survival of the Black community. So with that said, sisters, before we close out, can you give me your last thoughts? Because I have a thought that I would like to share, but I want you guys to share your thoughts, and then we're going to close on out.
I really don't have anything else. My last thought is I think we need to talk about the religion, though. We need to get on that. I believe that's a major problem.
Definitely. Raziki, what's up?
I'm all for the religion thing too, because that plays a part. But my main thing is I just would want everyone to take away this moving forward. Rather you're thinking about having children or you already have children. Every day you send your child to public school is every day that they are being indoctrinated with staying like sheep, staying a consumer. And the more you educate your child so that they can actually be a producer is how you're contributing to my children, their children, like the next generation having generational wealth to walk into or leave behind or whatever the case. And so one thing I feel is important is that we don't realize how much our people are affected by our individual decisions and how we decide to contribute to the betterment of everybody. Like, you may think because you're this one person not contributing, it's not really affecting us, and it is. So I just encourage, everybody to realize, the more you educate your child and put them into African-centered schools and supporting those who have African-centered education going on, you are contributing to, a better generation next go round. And we owe that to ourselves and our ancestors because we're smarter now. We really know what's going on. We're breaking out of the slave mentality now. So just advance our children so that, we can get better. We owe it to the ones who try to do it before us. So, and to ourselves and our children. That's it.
Definitely. Hold on one sec, sis. I'm waiting for a sister to come on in. I wanted her to share something with you all. And hold on one second. I'm trying to get her on the panel for a couple of minutes to share what is going on. And if she doesn't get in here, then it says that it's not allowing her to get in on the conversation. Something might be wrong with, hold on. Let me grab the Google link and shoot it to her really fast so we can close on out. But I wanted this sister to share her story with you all because it's really about the sisterhood. It's about healing the sisterhood and educating the sisterhood in order to empower our families. And empowering our families will empower the community. That's what a community is. A community is a network of families, and you have which means with, and unity. So with unity. So that is the whole objective and mission of these conversations and the work that a lot of us are doing in the community. So I'm gonna give this sister, like one more minute to get in. I just sent her the link, and this link has been working for everybody. She's saying it's not letting her get in, but this is the link. And I just sent her another one. So I want her to come on in to share her story, because this is the link I sent you all. Let me. Hold on one more time. Hold on. So if she doesn't get in here, then we'll wrap it up. I really wanted this sister to show her. I wanted her to share her story with the sisterhood.
Okay.
To see if we could, help her out in any way.
Yeah. If you want, I don't know if we're Facebook friends, but I can send her. I don't know. You want me to send you the link I have, or you should have it, right?
Yeah, I got the same link, and she's saying it's not working for her, but
dang, is she on her computer or her phone? But I mean, while you're figuring that out, I guess just to bring it to a close, and I'll try to stall because we have someone coming on. But okay, yeah, I don't know what to say.
All right.
Talk about your program. Talk about Nature's Crown. Talk about what the sisterhood is doing.
Okay, cool. So by the way, big shout out to Doug in the chat room, 757. But Nature's Crown International is a social enterprise, right? So it is a business that is for and about uplifting community. We grow food. We teach people how to grow food. We build garden boxes. We do health and wellness workshops. We produce our own products, and we also provide a way for people who make products to actually have us distribute them. This is a company that is coming out next year. We're working on our branding now, and for many of my friends that saw, the recent gala I went to supporting Shadana and her brother CeeLo Green and their greenhouse project, again, sustainable living, all of that. And so we're coming from a perspective where, we have to be able to be self-sufficient. We have to be able to produce, and we have to be able to control our own. you know, a lot of farms that I worked on was worked on by us, but were not owned by us. And so for me, I just agreed I'm not stepping foot on another farm until it's one that is owned by us. Because what happens is, you know, stuff gets taken away, so forth and so on. But yeah, that's what Nature's Crown International is all about. And being that Kia is constantly traveling internationally in our connections in Honduras and Kenya, we definitely look forward to importing, exporting, and creating these alliances. Look, next year, y'all, we got to stop playing, man. It's about alliances, okay? And y'all know I be into my astrology, and I'm just saying, Cosmic Mother, this is what she's telling me. I don't know about y'all. I don't know what she's telling y'all. But it's about alliances. We got to stop playing around. Because if you look at the greatest powers that exist, it's about alliances. You know what I mean? Like working together. I can't produce and do everything by myself. This is why I have a partner, my best friend. You know, I can't get into educating the youth, whatever. This is why I'm like, okay, I'd rather partner with a sister who's already doing that. Dr. Oya Ma'at. Build with who you chill with, y'all. That's the motto 2017. You got to stop playing. That's all I have to say.
I also want to just say I agree with building what who you chill with, and to add to that, also when you're doing business, we also got to understand we have to use certain groups of people for what they bring to the table, what their attributes are, and then use it as such. So we are about that as well. Nature's Crown International. And on the international side of things, we definitely want to build those alliances. We also are about developing certain areas. And so we want to also be able to bring other businesses and consult other businesses on actually doing and interacting internationally with our sisters and brothers and whomever else internationally and globally. Hi, sis. Peace.
That's Sister D. That's Sister D. I'm glad you in here, sis. How are you, Queen? How are you, Queen?
I'm good.
Hey,
good.
look,
Thank you.
Before you open up and you explain to the sisterhood what's going on with you, I just want to say that this sister is a huge, huge supporter, okay? A huge supporter of myself and the circuit of lecturers out there. So I'm talking about your SETIs, your Pharaohs, your Armin Ross squad, you know, your Dr. Oya Mayats, you know, all of those people out there, you know, even the elders, you know, and I could call them out. This is a sister that is always at the lectures. This is a sister who, if you put out a product, she supports. She goes out of her way to buy your products and to support and post about your product. So she's a huge supporter of those in the Afrocentric and conscious circles. And so this sister phoned me, and I'm going to let her elaborate on her situation. But she called me up. She contacted me through Facebook, and she said, Dr. Mayat, I need some help. And she said, I phoned a lot of people. You know, I called a lot of folks. And when I say called, I'm talking about like contact through social media. She said, I sent messages to a lot of brothers, and I'm not going to go in and name the brothers that she contacted. But she said, look, you know, I asked them for some help. Now, this is the same sister that goes to your lecture, that attends your lectures and buys your products. So she in turn calls you and say, look, you know, I need some help. And no one responded. Like literally nobody responded. So you got all these Black woman is God, all of these Black woman is God individuals. But when the Black woman needed some help, you know, it was silence. It was crickets. So this sister, you know, she reached out to me, and I said, well, sister, you know, look, she said, well, I'm gonna do a GoFundMe. I said, no. We're not gonna go do the GoFundMe because a lot of people are scared to donate their money to different causes because they don't know if it's authentic, given that people have been burnt. And so I asked her, you know, to send me, you know, the information I needed some information to validate what she told me. And the sister did email the information to me. And it is legit. I want the sister to explain her situation. And then we as sisterhood, we as sisters are going to talk about, you know, a solution. So go ahead, sis, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just want to thank all of you guys, first of all, for having me on your show. To you, Dr. Maya, you know, I absolutely love you, sister. I appreciate you to the utmost. Just briefly, my situation, what's going on with me. About 6 months ago, I was laid off from my job. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up already. I was laid off from my job that I had been working at for a few years. Making a substantial amount of money, so I was able to live pretty good and provide for my children. I was laid off with no notice. I came into work, and that day I was laid off, and I held on. I had savings saved up, but not much, because a year previous to that, a fire had destroyed literally the whole downstairs portion of my house. So, but I did have some. I was able to hold on for as long as possible, paying the rent and paying the bills. And after my savings was depleted, I still hadn't found a job. We didn't really have any other options. So instead of, you know, going through getting an eviction, you know, the landlord, the owner of the property, you know, allowed me to just go ahead and move out, and, you know, without having to owe him anything. And, you know, me and my kids, we packed up everything we owned, put everything in storage. And since we had nowhere to go, we all ended up having to split up. My daughter went with friends. One of my sons went with some of his friends, and my youngest son came with me. And so it's been kind of a struggle since then. I had unemployment, so I was able to keep my things in a storage and pay for my storage unit. And then my unemployment stopped, and I still hadn't found work. I literally, as of a week ago, like I told you when we spoke on the phone, I just recently found employment. But because of that, my stuff has been in storage for this is the third month now, without me being able to pay for it. Literally everything my baby's own is in there. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, sis. It's okay. Go ahead.
It's okay, sis. We're here.
Yeah.
We're here with you. That's okay.
Well, first, I don't commend you for because that's really big, you know, and it really takes a strong person to ask for help in the first place. We all have battled with that at one point, but go ahead, sis.
As a mother, you know, as a single mother, I don't have it in me to tell my kids that I've lost everything that we own. And, you know, I've always been the person to take care of others and to help others. That it took a lot for me to reach out and ask, because that's not me. That I don't, you know, that's just not how I was taught. You don't, you know, it's not how I was raised. You know, Dr. Maya, you know, we talked about, you know, my past and my upbringing, and it's not what you do. So it was hard, but as a mother, my kids are more important. So I had to ask for it. So this is where I'm at now. Like I said, I just recently found employment. I start work next week, but it's not in time, you know, to save our stuff. It literally goes up for auction on the 16th of this month.
So you have 9 days, and I did receive the letter from the public storage company, and they said they sent the letter, and I did validate it with an agent, and they were saying that you needed a little over $1,000 to save your belongings. And you know, I'm glad to hear that. First of all, that you found gainful employment.
Yes.
So you're getting ready to get back on your feet. So it's not like you're coming to the sisterhood saying, you know, I need some money. And by the way, I might be here again a month later. Needing more, you know, you got on your feet and you're saying, look, I need some help. This is what's going to happen. You know, so you need money to save your things. If you don't save your things, all your possessions are gone. And I think it was like a little over $1,000, like $1,000.67, something like that. Okay. So what I want the sisterhood to do is that I'm asking anybody who is watching this broadcast to we want to send you some money, sis, to assist you with this. You know, all of us are struggling right now. I mean, Sister Raziki and I, we were just talking about it before we got online.
Oh, from
you know?
court 30 minutes before the show. They want some money. Lord.
Yeah, like literally, she was like, sis, you know, the struggle is real, sis. And I'm like, yo, you know, let your sister know what's going on. If I can help you, I'm going to help you. The struggle is real over here with me. You know, we trying to get this Meltrek production, you know, finished. And it will be finished this Friday. Give thanks to the ancestors, and we will be shipping things out to people. But I'm always, you know, a firm believer that, you know, you got to help. You know, my yard is not just truth and balance and justice. My yard is also reciprocity. And my sister, you have supported me. You have purchased the DVD. You've been at my lecture. I think we took a picture together. I believe we took a picture together. I met you.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I met you in California, you know, in Oakland, California. So, you know, my yard is also reciprocity. People forget that when they talk about my yard. They say my yard is harmony and balance and truth and justice. But my yard is also reciprocity. And with that said, you have supported me, sister, in a good position. I mean, to say, here, sister, I wish I could give you the whole $1,000, you know, but I can't. But I can give you something to help. And what I can do is bring awareness of your situation to other brothers and sisters. So right here, sis, if you could give me your PayPal address, if you could tell me right here live, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to pledge $100 at this point towards $100 towards your storage. If anybody else, and I want you to say your PayPal address. Go ahead, Sister Kia.
Yeah, Nature's Crown want to pledge $75 towards the sister as well.
Yes, from us, sis. Love you so much. Don't cry.
Nature's Crown. And so, yep, Nature's Crown, Dr. Mayat, Ed Anime Productions. So I'm going to do this right now before we even hang up, so you can confirm that it is in your account. So, sister, can you give me 1 sec? Let me log into PayPal.
Oh.
Let me log into PayPal right now. And I want you just to confirm that you have it, sis. And we're going to do our best. You know, we'll do our best. And I'm hoping that people who view this broadcast will follow suit. So, okay. So here we go, sis. I'm in PayPal right now. Where's money? Okay. So, okay, I'm looking for tools. Oh, send money. Here we go.
What I need her, am I on here?
PayPal too.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. It's loading up right now. So send money to family and friends. I'm doing that. So, sister, what is your PayPal email address?
My email, it's the same email I just gave you, the El Cognito. I'll spell it for you. ELCOGNITO 3539 @gmail.com.
I need that again. What is it?
I posted it in the chat, sis.
Oh, I can't.
You got it?
Go ahead, say it again, sis.
ELCOGNITO 3539 @gmail.com.
All right. So let me see. Okay. So log into your PayPal account right now while we're live, and I'm gonna spell it out one more time. It's ELCOGNITO 3539.
@gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
Now, since
Right.
I'm on my phone, will it close you out if I close the screen?
No, like don't exit it. Don't exit the Google Hangout. but you can go and maneuver, like you can go to like another app. It won't close us out.
Okay, let me see here.
Okay, so it says it's sending on my end.
Okay.
Let me confirm. Send money now. Okay, so on my end, it says I've sent it. And a matter of fact, hold on 1 second. I can do this. If I were to share my screen, do you see my screen, sis? Or can anybody see my screen? Riziki, can you see my screen?
Yep. Confirm.
Okay.
Sent $100 to El Cognito. Yes.
Yep.
That
So
is-
on my end, sis, is showing.
It just came through to me. I just got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And Kia's working on our end. It'll either say her personal or Nature's Crown. But she's working on that now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm working on it right now, sis. I'm actually trying to do it on the phone while I'm on the phone. So if I can't do it right now, I'm definitely, once we get off here, it's going to be in your account.
I don't even know how to thank you guys enough.
It's okay.
No, that's okay. Go ahead, Sister Riziki. You wanted to expound on something, sis? I was just trying to get the sister's name and stuff correctly because I didn't want to send the money to somebody else's account. So go ahead, Sister
Oh, no,
Riziki.
I was saying I had posted it in the chat, the email, so you can copy and paste.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's all I was saying.
Okay, cool. Because I took the screen down and went into PayPal, so I did see what was going on in the chat.
No problem. Okay.
So my bad. So I just, Sister Nita, I want to let you know that the Sisterhood is here for you. And I think that, sisters, we probably should, have something like maybe when we do these shows, set up something for people to donate to these shows so that when we do have sisters.
Yeah, that would be good so that I have opportunity to give back.
No, sis, when we're not doing this for you to get, help another sister. You get what I'm saying, sis? So we're not doing this for you,
Definitely.
for you to pay us back. Pay the sisterhood back by helping another sister that's in need. Because I might be
right.
one day and have to holler at Riziki or Kia or you or another sister in your community, okay? So I don't want you to feel we're giving you this money and we expect you to just pay us, I just want to set up maybe something like a donation or a GoFundMe, so when we have sisters such as yourself who are in need, that we are able to help out. And so, yeah, the sisterhood is not just about coming on here doing YouTube shows and talking about what we need to do. The sisterhood, like, we're really out here working. You have Nature's Crown. You got Sister Riziki and Sister Kia. They go over to Africa. These sisters have acres of land in Africa that they're cultivating, and they're building alliances with people over in Kenya. I mean, these sisters just flew over there, I think 2 years ago, and did a Hidden Colors showing to the people of Kenya. These people actually, and Sister Riziki, can you elaborate on that? How when you showed them Hidden Colors, how they did not know the history. They didn't even know what took place with us. And they said they looked at us as slaves. And could you kind of elaborate on what you guys are doing in terms of agriculture, your projects over in Kenya? Sister Kia right now is in Europe. But can you sisters go ahead and talk about what you're doing? Because I just want the public to know that we're not just a sisterhood getting online, talking crap on YouTube. We're doing the work in the community. So it's cool to congregate and exchange knowledge and ideas on social media. But after that, you have to go out and do the work. And I want to let people know that these are a group of sisters who are out here doing the work. You got some sisters who specialize in agriculture. You got myself who are going into schools all across the DMV and have a product. We have products going around the world right now. So this is a sisterhood, a vanguard of African-centered women who are coming here to set a new decorum of womanhood, sisterhood, and wifehood. And we're out here doing the work in the community in order to heal the Black family and to empower the nation. And that's what we are about. So anyway, Sister Riziki, go ahead and elaborate on, expound on what you guys are doing in the community.
Sure. Well, the thing about Kenya, and so I'm going to just lead it up to when Kia presented it, because You know, we did put the presentation together, you know, but she presented it, and, you know, I definitely saw the DVD and everything, like the full presentation and their reaction. But first off, we have went there twice, interested in investing in the land, right? Going there, trying to set up business, because there's not a lot of Black Americans going over there doing that. It's more people from other cultures. So we went there twice, and we, you know, just noticed, like, you know, even though we're all on the billboards and commercials, but there's still a lot of white Jesuses around. And, you know, when we're talking about our knowledge of ancient Africa, the natives there don't really even know about it. And so that kind of hurt. And then two, there was this attitude or this idea about how Africans don't like Black Americans. So, you know, through those trips, we realized, like, man, we gotta educate our brothers and sisters about what's really going on and how their perceptions of us are skewed just like it is with us. And just to give a quick testimonial, like, right, but the first time I was going to go, they talked about this bombing that happened in Mombasa. That's where we were going to go. And I called Kia real quick. She was overseas. I was like, yo, they bombing stuff over there. Like, you sure it's straight? Like, at this point, the ticket paid for, we ready to go. And she like, man, listen, don't worry about that. It's not true, blah, blah, blah. When we get to Mombasa, the club is perfectly intact. No bombing happened at all. And I'm just like, wow, the media really lies. So again, knowing all of that, that's what led up to this presentation. And Kia could talk more about it, but at the end of it, like I said, that's when they stood up and they apologized to us and said, we are sorry for calling y'all slaves. But Kia, if you want to elaborate on what you taught in your reaction.
So the reason why we even did the presentation is, you know, our company at that time called KLS, Keeping Lives Sustained. I think that's what it was, right? And I was working in Afghanistan at that time. I've been doing government contractor for the last 5 years now, which is why I'm in Europe right now. But I was in Afghanistan, and I had came across the Hidden Colors DVD, and I shared it with my guys that worked with me. And I worked with Indians, Bosnians, Filipinos, and Kenyans. So I would go in the break room and I would take the DVD in there, and I'm like, look, y'all need to watch this because we need to talk about real history, you know. And after they watched it, my adopted uncle, and he's from Kenya, and he said, listen, I know you finna go to Kenya for your birthday. I was going to Kenya for my 32nd birthday, and you know, I wasn't planning on doing that, but he said, listen, can you do a presentation on this DVD, because we did not know this information. He was totally shocked. The Indians were shocked, the Bosnians were shocked, everybody was shocked about this information. He said, listen, we'll just do it in one day and whatever. So I said, sure, of course, you know, we always down for that. So, you know, I let Rizzy know, and we prepared the presentation together. And they had a big shindig. It was so important that we rented out the YMCA, and this is in Nairobi, in the east part of Nairobi. And they literally had, like I said, they had African dancing, they had African storytelling, they had the projector, they had the table set up. We also paid to feed all the people there, and then so we did the presentation. So we also had representation of 7 different tribes. Now Kenya has 42 tribes. The major tribes is Kikuyu, and you have Kikuyu, Lua, Luya, Taita, Kamba, but the Kikuyu tribe is one of the known tribes out of Kenya right now. So we had representation of all those tribes. And like she said, after we did the presentation, we literally had people standing up saying, listen, we didn't know this. We thought you guys were the slaves. And one of my brothers, Josephat, stood up and said, see, we called them the slaves, but they are the actual warriors. And then he went in to talk about the white man that come over there and take the pictures of the hungry and the starving people, and they go and sell it, and they don't bring the money back to Kenya. and he was talking about unifying, and we actually created a foundation that day with a group of guys that actually do acrobats all through Europe, all through Africa, and they're from Kenya, and we also money to that particular area. We did the presentation called Shalimor, where they actually produce and distribute and manufacture their own souvenirs. The souvenirs that you see when you go to places like that or whatever, they actually make it by hand. So we were able to be a part of donating to them. And so we're deeply rooted in Kenya. So, Nature's Crown International is one of the organizations that is going to be it's going to have a global effect on marginalized people everywhere. We definitely want to be able to build alliances and teach our sisters and brothers how to engage in international development and international investments and things of that nature. So that's what it's about, sisters.
And I concur with you 100%. I had my mic on mute, but I actually, man, like you said, we have to think globally right now as African people, and we have to think, we have to reorientate our mind to think in terms of nation building and building globally. You get what I'm saying? I really feel like, and see, like in being educated by the Europeans, we have been indoctrinated with the ideology of individualism. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people right now are seeking individual salvation. So you hear people say, well, I'm getting mine, or I'm trying to get mine, or me and mine's. Everything is you and yours instead of us. And then so we need to first think in terms of nationhood. We need to reorientate our minds to think in terms of nation building, nationhood. And then once we do that, we also need to think in terms of global networking. So I applaud what you sisters are doing, taking Nature's Crown to a global level. So if they shut off things here in America, guess what? We have access to getting our food and our resources from another country. We don't have that as Black people in America. You get what I'm saying? You have Arabs who have connections still with their Arab countries. You have the Asians who still have connections with their countries. But what about us as a people? We don't. And so I'm glad that you sisters are thinking in terms of globally. You're thinking of a global, and that's what we need, man. We need a global African system. Dr. Amos Wilson talks about that a lot in his lectures. He was saying, look, we have to understand that we are under a system of domination, and only systems can combat systems. It's like we're throwing rocks at a system right now. Okay, it's cool that you have your African Center School. That's cool. It's cool that you have your business. That's cool. All of that stuff is cool, but we're throwing rocks at a system. So how effective are those rocks in dismantling a system? So we need to organize an African global system to combat and destroy this system of domination. So with that said, in trying to develop this system, go ahead, Kia. I'm sorry, because I was getting ready to close, sis.
I just wanted to say this when we got into the global thing, because that's one of my passions is global development, global investments. But what this is also doing is creating generational wealth and ownership of assets. I love when Dr. Claude Anderson go on this on the documentary 7 a.m., which is very important that we also collectively invest in our generational wealth and assets, both internationally and domestic. And we also invest in natural resources, gold, silver, businesses internationally. And we can go anywhere on this globe. This is one thing that our people need to know, that we can go anywhere on this planet and invest, because we are indigenous everywhere. And the thing is that people globally will work with us. They will work with us. So this is very important that we apply this and make this a practical thing in our lives.
Okay, cool. So we're going to close. And before we close, I just want to salute all of the African-centered schools. Right now, and I'm looking in the chat room, and I see a sister. She's a huge supporter of Dr. Oya Mayat, and this is my sister, Felicia Anu, and they have a daycare called Anu Daycare. I'm looking at it. They have a daycare called Anu Daycare, and they also have a homeschool. They have a growing homeschool called Anu International Youth Institute of Excellence. And I believe that this sister is based in California. So don't, if sis, if I miss, I think that that's correct. But I think that they are based in California. You also have the Watoto Development Center here in Baltimore. You have a Bright Minds Academy. I believe that brother is either in Virginia or North Carolina. You have the brother, and that's run by a brother named Larry Rivera. You have a sister, Jamila. She's on Facebook. She has a homeschooling community or African Center School. You also have the Uhuru Academy, and I think that they are based in Texas. You also have, you got the Kamali Academy, and I believe that the Kamali Academy is down in Louisiana. I think New Orleans. I'm not sure. I'm just like going off the top of my mind right now, family. So bear with me. Who else? You have a brother named Marcus Klein. He has 4 African-centered schools. So I'm with you, Sister Riziki, in that no more excuses. No more excuses. We need to take control of our children. And in taking control, we need to transform our communities. And in transforming our communities, we have to take control of our children. And that means being totally involved in their conditioning process. So we must stop sending our children to the public school system to get educated. And remember, and I'm going to close with this, according to the great Dr. Amos Wilson, the function of education is to maintain the biological survival of a people and to enhance their interests, defend their interests, and enhance their quality of life. If your education does not function in those terms, then it is miseducation. Okay, so join us, family, each and every Wednesday. Talk with the sisters. We will be here from 1 to 2 p.m. We always say 2 p.m., Sister Riziki, but then we go over.
I know. We might as well say 1 to maybe 3 o'clock. We'll just say that. And sis, look, we are still, I think he is logging off now so she can send you that money. And, we'll screenshot it and tag you or, whatever, just so you can confirm. But, we will definitely keep you in our meditation, sis. Stay strong. Don't give up. It's only up from here.
That's right, my sister. And also, there were a lot of people in the chat room who said, what is her PayPal? What is her PayPal address? What is her PayPal email address? And we put it in the chat room. And if you go to the video on YouTube, I added your PayPal address. So let us know, keep us informed. Let us know how it works out with you. I believe that it will. The SisterHood was able to raise at least $175 right here on the spot. And so I'm thinking, another 800 is definitely going to come with the video being shared. You got folks who are watching the video right now. They're going to make a contribution. So I know that the ancestors will provide. So with that said, join us every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. now, Riziki? Okay, 1 p.m. At the most, we'll say that, at the most. Join us from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Tea Talk with the SisterHood. Brothers are welcome to join us. Sisters, we implore you to come on. Go to my Facebook page. Go to Riziki L's Facebook page. Go to Kia Facebook page. Her name is Waukesha L on Facebook. Go to our Facebook pages. And in fact, underneath this video on YouTube, you'll see a link to all of our Facebook pages. But go there, share the links with your girlfriends, your mothers, your sisters, your auntie, because we need to get the sisterhood in order. We understand that the sisters are the structures, the woman is the foundation of the race. She is the first teacher of the child. She is the transmitter of culture. So if we have women, so right now you see our youth with destructive mentalities because a destructive mentality was transmitted to them. So we need to heal the nation by healing the sisters first. Once we heal the sisters, then the sisterhood will be able to resurrect the nations. With that said, peace and Black Power. This is your girl, Dr. Oya Mayat. You got Sister Raziki, Sister Kia, and Sister Nita. I thank Queen T for coming on. Sister Kaba, I missed her today. She was supposed to be on. She had a lot of good information, but something was going on with her telephone, so she was unable to make it. Any of the sisters have anything to say before I hit the stop broadcast button? Go ahead, Sister.
I'd just like to thank you guys again. I can't even tell you. I can't even put into words, you know, the level of appreciation. With or without this, you know, I've always supported you. But things like this it just makes it's like an affirmation. It makes it more real that, you know, that the people that you look up to and the people that you admire, they're real, you know, they're really real. So I just thank you.
I thank you, sis. I'm trying to keep it together because, sis, boy, you got me over here. You got me over
I'm trying to fight back the tears. Like, oh, something's in my eye. I'm an empty.
I'm like, Lord, Sister Nita's going to have me on.
You know how you try to be like, you know, you don't want nothing to fall.
Right. I'm over here like, oh, God.
Yeah, like, I'm a G. Okay.
Because I try to assist you. I try to come with that segment, that spirit of segment. I try to maintain that. But Sister Nita is like over here breaking me down right now. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. So I appreciate all of the viewers. Oh, go ahead, sis. Oh, you were saying peace. I appreciate all of the viewers. We had a lot of people in the building. Olivia Brandt. I believe, am I pronouncing her name correctly? Sister Olivia, she was in the building. I love that sister. She's always supporting the sisterhood. We had a brother, Sean P. He was in the building. Low TV Culture came through. There were a lot of people. Sister Raziki, who else was in the building? I'm just thinking of, you had Sister Fundisha. She's in the building. Who else, Sister Raziki? Give me some other names of people you saw in the building.
I mean, yeah, I'm talking to some of them now. Okay, so we got, oh my goodness. Jehudi, I don't know if you said that already. Then TMP.
Yes, brother Jehudi. I love that brother. He's a very, very supportive brother of the sisterhood.
Then we got Doug 57. So he talked about some farming. I'm always down with that. So we'll definitely link up on that tip. And I think, yeah, and you know, I think you said, you know, the rest. But yep, I appreciate everybody for coming out. You know, it's going to get better. And you know what? If there's some topics y'all want to hear us going on, let us know. Feel free to contact us. Send us your suggestions. You know, we always open to hear what the people want to discuss and go over. So, you know.
No doubt. All right, y'all. So peace and Black Power.